Ngunjiri, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Karibu sana.
It's been a minute.
I see you have dressed in Jubilee colors.
Yeah. I mean, this we have to represent.
Chama.
Actually, it's more. Now the blue was Azimio. We are still trying to figure out, but Uhuru told us we are still in Azimio.
All right.
For a minute there, I wasn't sure what that meant, but hey, we are still in Azimio and we are still red.
I wonder, did Kanu change its color from red?
No.
So Kanu is red.
Kanu is red.
Jubilee is red.
Yeah, Jubilee is red.
Who else is red?
Actually, don't know. I just see other guys with funny colors.
There must be another party.
Blue and red are the ones.
Although Kanu now went into more of green, even the Jogo is no longer a red Jogo. It's a green Jogo.
Yeah, there's a green Jogo.
Yeah, the Jogo of Kanu, the one of the 80s is different. The Jogo now is actually it's a Gen Z Jogo.
Well, yeah, kind of see. Maybe it's died. It's died. It's color.
An updated version.
Yes.
You know, he's mentioned Azimio and still in, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of political math to do, but we'll do the math with him in just a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jano is going to welcome you with the day's quotes.
So today's quote is by Koleka Patuma. She's a young poet and playwright from South Africa. And in one of her collections called Collective Amnesia, where she was really capturing post-apartheid frustration, because that's especially in her area, she once said, "The people are tired of waiting for tomorrow. The people are tired of waiting for tomorrow." How does that resonate with you in this season and your reflections on what's happening in the political landscape?
I completely agree with her. I think the biggest problem we have politically and in this country is that our politicians sell us tomorrow rather than deliver us today. So everybody who gets elected starts planning for the next election rather than actually delivering now. And when you ask them, what they sell you is not what you agreed. It's what they will do for you. So that's a major problem. You know, nobody lives in tomorrow. Nobody has ever lived in tomorrow. You live in today.
Today. On what needs to be delivered today.
Yes.
It's a today.
So food is today, healthcare is today, shelter is today.
So you politicians are just, anyway.
It's but you know, politicians are representatives of the people. So I keep telling people, you can't be saying bad things about politicians and you're the one who elected, and you're the ones who elected them. And you elected them to represent you.
You know we are victims.
There's no such thing.
Anyway, we'll show you shortly. Vijay, I remember the first time your profile went public was after the 2007 election.
Yes.
When you were leading a group of youth in saying, we need to actually come together and look at a new Kenya, reimagine a new Kenya going into the future. At that time, then you went and worked with Raila Odinga in the Raila Odinga campaigns.
Yep.
I think that was in 2013, wasn't it?
2013, yes.
Yeah, you worked in the Raila Odinga team. And then, because sasa hakuingia kwa serikali, next we saw you had jumped ship and you joined Jubilee.
Yes. I actually worked with Uhuru before I joined Jubilee, yes.
You worked with Uhuru, joined Jubilee, and then going into the last election in 2022, you were firmly in Jubilee and Azimio.
I never left.
And after the 2022 election, I remember hosting you for a conversation.
Yes.
And you said, you know what, I think it's about time that Uhuru just gives up this party because clearly people have shown him that it's you we do not want. And so Uhuru should just let go of the party Jubilee, let it be reimagined by other people, especially in the mountain, and so on and so on. Next, I'm seeing Ngunjiri Wambugu is working for Rigiji. Then Rigiji is removed from office. Next, I'm seeing Ngunjiri Wambugu has left Rigiji. Now he's back with Uhuru.
First and foremost,
where are you today?
Actually, I never left.
Rigiji is not in government. Uhuru is not in government.
I never left.
You seem to want to work with people who are in government.
No. I never left Uhuru. I was just going to correct that conversation we were having. Was we were going through a transition, or a conversation for a transition in Jubilee, and there was a major fight between two camps, and none of them was at that moment really an Uhuru camp. And there was this. Everybody kept saying Uhuru needs to come and tell us which side we need to go with. And I was like, look, Uhuru has finished. He's done 10 years. Sincerely, if we all sat down together, we can come up with our own lineup without having to get into to bring him back. Unfortunately, that's not how it went. We ended up having a situation where Uhuru actually had to come back. and try and just set the party back in form, which is what he was doing with the NDC last week, but one. Basically just saying, look, this party, there was a lot of confusion. For a while, we didn't know who was a party leader, who was not. We didn't know who was a secretary general, who was not. Court cases for 3 years, finally settled. This is where we are. So now, when you listen to Uhuru in that NDC, he was saying, now we can actually go into that conversation again properly without trying to go through the bush.
You're saying when you worked for Rigathi Gachagua, this is in 2023.
Yes.
Up to, was it early this year?
2023 to 2024 officially. Transitioned with him November, December, January, and left end of February. Stopped working with him end of February.
So you stopped working with Rigathi Gachagua earlier this year?
Yes.
When you were working with Rigathi Gachagua, had you left Jubilee?
No.
So how did that work?
Were you Uhuru's expert in Gachagua? You know, now we know.
Uhuru has experts everywhere.
You know, these Azimio parties are just donating experts to government. Were you an expert donated by Jubilee into the Deputy President's office?
I wasn't donated by Jubilee to the Deputy President's office, but maybe I was an expert that they needed in that office, because it's actually the ones who asked me to work with them, the ones who reached out and asked, look, we need help with political communications. And you've done this for a while, because I had actually done it even before I was Member of Parliament during Uhuru's first term. And why it was not a problem that I was in a different party is the same reason why in public service, forget about the ministers and executive officers, a lot of the people who work in government belong to some party or the other. And nobody ever asks you whether the party you belong to is a determinant of the kind of work that you're doing. So that never came up in terms of it being a conflict. In fact, it just became easier for me to be able to advise because I was an outsider. I was not involved in the mark of the party or where it had come from. And then I was able to criticize without fear, because I was like, part of the reason why we were having a problem with you guys is because of this. And the conversation we'd had with him about that never became an issue. He said, you're not coming to work for me as a deputy party leader of UDA, you're coming to work for me as a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, which is an office that is supposed to serve everyone. It doesn't matter what party you come from.
So this was so I want to now kind of take us back to that moment. So you were advising him. You said you left earlier this year. This is when you stopped. February this year.
Actually, when he started forming a new party.
DCP, when he started forming DCP. Yes. Was that part of your motivation to step back?
Yes.
Because then there would have been a conflict.
There would have been a conflict. Actually, the primary reason we were not able to continue working was going to be a conflict. And the conflict came up not so much because he started a new party, but because the trajectory that the new party was going to take was going to be in conflict with Jubilee. Because remember, initially, I don't know whether that has changed. I listen to him these days and I feel as if he has changed. But when he began with a very forceful position that DCP is going to be the only party in Mount Kenya region. Now, me, I'm in Jubilee. I don't intend to move. So I'm not going to work with somebody who says that I have to be in that party to move. Because what are you telling me? I have to leave. I have to leave where I have been. And I keep telling people, not just have I invested a lot of money. We used to be debited a lot of money to go into Jubilee when we were in office. And then you've paid, what do you call this, nomination fees twice for that party. So there's a lot of my money in Jubilee. But then there's also a lot that I appreciate Jubilee for, including giving me an opportunity to be Member of Parliament for Nyeri. I haven't reached the point where I want to leave yet. And I'm not going to leave to join a new party that I'm not sure about. So my initial conversation was, we find a way to coexist, But at that point, he was very clear in his head, no. Jubilee and every other party in Mount Kenya region must give way for this new party.
If you had listened to your advice, what would that setup have looked like today?
A lot like what they're trying to do now.
Okay.
But you see, now what he's trying to do now is because of pressure and resistance rather than because of choice. Because my suggestion was, actually my very initial suggestion after he was thrown out of government was, why don't you go to Jubilee? Why don't you go to Uhuru and have a conversation with him? You've already started trying to make amends. You've already started trying to reach out to him. You've tried to reconcile with him. The final act of reconciliation could actually be you going back to the party that you'd left. Because remember, Gachagua was also a member of Jubilee, for at least 5 years. But he also played a very fundamental role in destroying Jubilee, especially in Mount Kenya region. So I was like, look, if you really want to do penance and show you really mean when you say you're sorry, the easiest way to do this is to go back to Jubilee, sit down with Uhuru, and say, look, I did what I did to this party. Give me an opportunity to rehabilitate it or to bring it back as my way of showing the past is the past.
No ill feelings.
No hard feelings. And anyway, Jubilee was never supposed to be a personal property of Uhuru Kenyatta, right? It was, Uhuru had already reached the point where he was like, look, me, I've done my part. I just don't want this party to die with me. So it was a very easy gap. Jubilee at that moment looked like it was dead, as we kept being told. So it was another opportunity for him to walk in and with the momentum that he had, just take it back to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But you see, also that would have required him to accept to be within a certain structure, that you'd have to be answerable to other people.
Exactly. I was going to say
responsibility, and that was a conflict.
Makes sense, because these are all very big personalities. I know we're going to, there's a lot to cover with you, including what Uhuru is up to, the Matiang'i factor, but I still want to go back a little bit. Was that the only reason that you parted with Gachagua? Was there a fallout? Because I was saying earlier, I was listening to your commentary from a day or so ago.
Yes.
And we'll come to that in a moment, when it seemed that you were coming across as, listen, Gachagua right now is desperate for the mountain. He's, the jabs he's throwing indirectly or directly. So I just want to know whether the separation that you two experienced was a seamless one, or whether there was something more to it. I know that can sound like a strange question. So some would say, of course, if I'm breaking away, it may come with some kind of animosity.
Yes.
It sounds like it came with some kind of animosity. Is that true? If it is, what happened?
It did come with animosity to some extent. First and foremost, because it would not have been his choice for me to leave. Then at that moment, you feel like you're getting disappointment. I was like his primary right-hand person a lot of the time, especially during impeachment. A lot of the times, everybody would leave and we'd be left with him, you know, at the end of the day, and you just have to review and look at what is going on. So at the point where you leave, especially when you're leaving at that moment, he will view it as if, okay, why would you leave now? You know,
but then abandon me at this
yes,
time.
you are literally abandoning me at this moment. But I'm like, look, if I don't leave now, it's just going to get worse. We've reached a point where we are politicians, both of us. The reason we were able to work together was because we were not working as politicians primarily. We were working on a technocrat perspective, where I would bring in my perspective and you take up yours. And there was a structure, there was a hierarchy structure, there was a hierarchical structure. You were my boss.
Hold on. You told us that you were recruited to work in that office based on your experience as a political communicator.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're playing politics. You're bringing the politics side of communication
to a technocratic office, not to another politician. Remember, let me explain this to you, Eric.
Okay.
When Gachagua was deputy president, he had various functions. And this is, by the way, just to depersonalize it, same thing happened when I was working for Raila Odinga in 2012. I was working for Raila Odinga when he was prime minister. So he had an executive function and a political function. And a lot of the times when you're a politician in that kind of structure, you have to figure out how to balance. And when you're doing executive functions, you need somebody to convert that executive function and make sure that the politics of that function is understood. Now, when you remove the executive function, you just leave pure politics, right? And that's why there's always a possibility to have a lot more conflict when you're just doing politics. Because now we're not looking at a national perspective, we're looking at a personal interest. Politics is very personal interest driven. It's now no longer about the greater good. You know, I can't argue with you that don't say that. Because when you say that, it comes out badly. When you start talking about Mlima, it comes out badly to the rest of the country. Now you want to talk about Mlima, right? So if I tell you, okay, you know, that might not sell, so that tends to be the conflict and the challenge that comes in when you're just dealing with politics alone. That is not there when you're doing executive and politics.
Okay.
Yes.
So what you are on, as I interrupted you just to get to understand that, is you're explaining at the point when you were leaving.
Yes.
And the politics, because now you two are political animals. You had to leave because now you've come back into the political arena.
Yes.
You're no longer deputy president. You're now politician.
You're now a politician who is trying to find his space. And some of how you're trying to find your space is in conflict with the space that I already occupy. For example, God willing, 2027, I want to run again for office. I would want to run Jubilee in 2027. You're telling me that if I stay with you, I can't run with Jubilee. I either join your party or I'm going to be in conflict with you.
Yes.
In a rally. So why wait? if we are not able to agree now of how we can coexist by the time we get there. And remember, once you leave office as deputy president, we no longer have a hierarchy of you're no longer my boss, so to speak. We are now seated as two politicians chatting political cause. What is your political cause? You want to be president. Me, I want to be member of parliament. If the way you're going to be president is going to be in conflict with how I'm going to be member of parliament, then we're going to have a problem. So we start having those problems at that beginning. If I see where you're going is going to be a problem to me in future, we're going to have a conflict. If I see the kind of political philosophy or ideology you're introducing is going to be a problem with the one I have or the one my party represents, then we're going to have a problem.
We're going to have an issue.
Yes. So why wait?
You know what? One thing I like, Janet, about politicians is when it suits them, they're very honest.
Yeah.
No, we are honest all the time. It's just that
all the time.
We are honest all the time, especially with ourselves.
Okay.
We are honest all the time. Yes,
Yeah,
we are very honest with ourselves all
To
the
the
time.
public, when it suits them, they're very honest. For example, those that have fallen out with the current administration have now been coming out and giving us the honest truth of what happens in government, of what was going on in government. Regarding being one of them, we've seen former CS Justin Muturi and others coming out to speak about what exactly is going on. Coming up to the last election, Jubilee was the dominant party in Mount Kenya.
Yes.
And then, through the work of Rigathi and others, Jubilee was vanquished.
Yes.
And UDA became the dominant party. After the election, we saw the very direct attempt at breaking apart the Jubilee party. Now, you can tell us because you are working in those circles.
Actually,
Who was breaking Jubilee apart?
incidentally, by the time I joined Gachagwa's office in 2023, the efforts to break Jubilee had already started and gone to a very large extent. To a point where when I was joining office, a lot of my conversations around Jubilee was, why do we want to break Jubilee? Why is the government so focused on fighting Jubilee? Even you, Gachagua, why would you want to be part of a process like that? In retrospect today, and that's a question that, because when you want to understand a politician and an action, you first start from who is benefiting. So at this moment in time, when you look at the politics of the country, in whose interest was it to break Jubilee? Because really, see, where is Jubilee a threat? Jubilee is a threat in Mount Kenya region at this moment in time. In fact, Jubilee has close to 30 members of parliament and senators. I think 27 or 26 of them are from Northeastern. So if Jubilee is coming back, the threat of it coming back is in Mount Kenya region, not anywhere else. So you now have to start asking yourself today, now with the benefit of hindsight, who wanted Jubilee vanquished and why? Because the person who wanted Jubilee vanquished is the person who did not want Jubilee to go back to being a dominant party in Mount Kenya region. Today you're able to see who that was.
Who is it?
It's Gachagua.
Oh.
I mean, he's the one who's having a problem with Jubilee now because Jubilee is getting into a domain that he believes is his exclusively. Unlike any other party. He doesn't have a problem with Wiper, for example, because Wiper is not a challenge to him in Mount Kenya region. And that's why nobody went after Wiper.
So Gachagua wanted Jubilee to basically die.
Because for as long as it existed, first you gave Uhuru an opportunity to come back, right, as you have just said. Because now you will not be having this conversation if Jubilee did not exist. Second, you now have a situation where there's another entry to Mount Kenya region outside him. Again, if you're a smart politician, you don't want that to happen. So once you vanquish a certain party that has a possibility of messing you up in your dominant part, you want to finish it. When Gachagua and his team were trying to finish Jubilee before 2022, the intention was make sure it never comes back.
Let it die and die completely.
Yes, because once you get in, you realize that the biggest strength of UDA was actually Mount Kenya region, which had been the biggest strength of Jubilee before.
We're coming up to a break, and we're asking Uhuru is back. What does it mean? What next? What does it mean politically? What is the ripple effect in the Kenya region? Ngunjiri Wambugu is with us in studio, former Nyeri Town MP. First, he's given us a little bit of that backstory as to how it ended up here. But what happens next? What are the implications politically? Coming up to 7:30, Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. We'll be back in a moment.
Actually, I've just searched and I remember one song, Drew Hill. And I never make a promise
that I can keep.
Yeah. And there are many other songs that says, promises you can't keep. No promises by cheat codes featuring Demi Lovato. There's Megan Trainor, But For Me, which has some lines of promises you can't keep.
And many others.
Many others.
Eric has the 411. Still, Mike, the one says, the problem with Kenyan politicians is I think Kenyans are still stuck in old politics. Mtuetu syndrome. 2027, be ready for a surprise. That's his feedback. So, yeah, I remember when I used to dream about Othaya in my sleep. Now I just wake up and think about my life. It makes us. You don't hold back.
Just to think about Udaya all the time. Now it's just, I mean, life.
Yep.
Life taught me that no, I am the most important
in all this.
In all this, not just that. Ngunjiri Wambugu, former Nyeri Town MP, is our guest, and we're talking about the politics of Mount Kenya region now with two big parties. We have DCP. Okay, no, actually more than two. We have UDA, which currently has many members of parliament, of MCAs, of even governors. We have DCP, which is emerging, and we have Jubilee as well, which has been the dominant party in this area. We have the Democratic Party, which has previously been dominant, and it's still in that area. We have PNU, which is also still in this area. We have PLC. Yeah, we have the Mbas Party. Many parties.
There are many parties.
Guy.
There are many parties.
And that's why when somebody wakes up and says that this region needs to have only one party, I get upset.
Oh, we'll come back to that.
Yes.
2 days ago, our guest, Ngunjiri Wambugu, posted a video on his channel, and it's titled, Why Gachagua Has a Problem with Uhuru, Matiang'i, and Jubilee. It was about a 10-minute or so commentary. Let's listen in to one of the things that he said in that video, come back and unpack, even what he's just said. Like, I have a problem when somebody claims this is my region. He talked about Gachagua's attacks to Uhuru Kenyatta. But let's listen in and then come back and have the conversation with him.
And every casual political observer knows that the person Gachagua is jabbing, specifically, is Matiang'i, generally, Uhuru. Essentially, the fight Gachagua has had with Uhuru had just simmered when he was pretending to apologize. And he's come back to the fore. And I say that for this reason. When Gachagua was attacking Uhuru last term, it wasn't a mistake. He knew exactly what he was doing. Gachagua wanted to show Uhuru that he had now come of age. And he was literally enthroning him or dethroning him from the leadership of the Mount Kenya region by force. He was taking over that leadership. Right? So when UDA won and Ruto became president, Gachagua was very clear in his head that the first thing he was going to do is become the king, Mudhamaki, of the Mount Kenya people. The threat that he saw ahead of him was Uhuru Kenyatta. The attack during the swearing-in was a very strategic decision by Gachagua to try and put down Uhuru before the world, before the nation, and before the region. He wanted to show everybody, and especially Uhuru himself, that now I'm the one in power, I'm the one in charge.
He wanted to show that I'm the one in charge. There's a lot of threads we can pull from just that short piece of commentary. But have we answered the question? No, not yet. Why is Uhuru back? Why is he back? What does it mean politically? What are the ripple effects, even for what you just alluded to, in terms of the Mount Kenya region again?
I think for you to answer that question, you need to understand Uhuru. Uhuru's politics is based, yes, on a dominant part of the region. But as a son of a founding president, there was no way he was going to make it just by being a Mount Kenya product. So Uhuru has sold himself as a nationalist from way back. In fact, if you remember the first time Uhuru got into politics, it was a group of, I don't want to call them rich kids, a bunch of young guys who are all children of former leaders of the first government from different parts of the country. And they came after Moi.
The other camp calls them dynasties.
Yeah, the other camp is called them dynasties. I didn't want to go that way. And they were going after Moi for certain national things. So he's always presented himself as a nationalist, right? And as much as he's mobilized himself, first from Mount Kenya region, then to the rest of the country, you realize that Uhuru had a very strong network across the country. He had a very strong network in Northeastern, for example. He had a very strong network in Coast. He had a strong network in Rift Valley, as much as he had a dominant network in Mount Kenya region. One of the things he said during the NDC is that Jubilee is not a regional party. Those small chamas. That goes completely against his political ideology from way back. It's not something he's changing now. The second thing is this issue of selling hatred. Remember, Uhuru is coming back from a situation where he was involved in a national conversation that had come from hatred. So he's not also going to stand back and allow somebody to pour hate across the country as a political mobilization tool. He's going to stand up and talk about it. The third thing is, Uhuru, beyond everything else, Uhuru also understands the political dynamics of the country and why negative ethnicity is such a dangerous thing. So if you start pulling Kikuyus and Embu and Meru into a small caucus, it's always been argued, yes, they might be the largest community, but they're still a minority. So when you pull them into one caucus and then start talking like Gachagua said when he was in the US, that, we are the drivers of the economy. What you're doing is making everybody else upset.
Yeah.
So you're actually creating a cleavage between the Mount Kenya region that you insist you want to dominate and the rest of the country. And the rest of the country is more than us. So at this rate, you're threatening just the success of that community that you want to lead.
So why is Uhuru back, Ngunjiri?
Because he doesn't like that.
So he's back to deal with Gachagua?
No. He's back to ensure that the nation first, as a country, continues on the path that he left them with. We can't be going back to tribal politics when he had tried everything he could to take us forward into national politics. And then you can't be using his people, so to speak, as your tool.
As your bargaining tool.
To now generate that kind of conversation where you're telling people, you go and sort out the Kamba, you go and sort out the Kisii, you go and sort out the Masai, then you come and sit with me.
So he's back to deal with the Gachagua?
No. He's back to make sure his party continues and gets back to where it was. Because also remember, we have a lot of unfinished work. We had a lot of projects. Some have been done by this government, some are not. So and the reason parties exist is to be part of or to run government.
Okay. Ngunjiri?
Yes.
You've worked with Uhuru, you've worked with Gachagua.
I worked with Raila.
With Raila, yeah. But this too fast.
Yes.
With Uhuru and Gachagua, very closely as their advisor.
Yes.
Okay. You've just told us previously that when you joined, you found that the journey to break up Jubilee was already in motion. And you are therefore just listening in to the people in there who are talking about how they want to break up Jubilee. And you've explained what you heard and why, the reasoning. When Gachagua started facing the heat that he was facing from his boss, President William Ruto, now that you're working with Uhuru, is Uhuru bitter that Gachagua is out? Or is Uhuru now saying, well, you had it coming?
I think I don't know whether I would say Uhuru is bitter or not bitter, because also Uhuru has spent a lot of time in politics to a point of depersonalizing what happens around him. I don't think Uhuru is going to stand up and say, what happened to this guy after what he did to me serves him right. He's not going to say something like that. He's more interested in finding out, so what is the way forward? Remember, Uhuru tried to tell Kenyans to go in a certain direction. They refused.
Yeah.
When they refused, everybody kept thinking he's not going to go and hand over power to Ruto, who he had done everything he could to stop from being president. He went. And there's always like a picture of him walking out like he was dancing. He literally...
He was done.
He was done.
Guys,
I told you to go this direction. You refused. You went this direction. It's all right. I've handed over to the side you went. And he stepped out. And after he stepped out, he disappeared. But for some reason, within government, there was a very concerted effort to just keep pushing him back. And, sometimes you'd wonder, why are you doing? What was that about? You talk about the dismantling of Jubilee. One of the things people know, nobody wants to really appreciate is that a lot of that, the dismantling stopped when I started working with the deputy president.
Oh, what did you do?
Let me ask. I will not say what I did, but you have to accept. You have to accept there's a connection.
For us to actually believe.
You have to accept there's a connection. Sometimes it's also just by connection.
Or coincidence.
It could also be coincidence. Okay. But in politics, there's nothing like that.
But there's something
there's nothing like coincidence in politics.
There's something
Two things happened when I started working with Gachagua. One, he stopped insulting Uhuru. Actually, he started apologizing to Uhuru. And the whole story about fighting Jubilee got finished. So, do I want to take credit for that? Not necessarily, but see, I was there.
What did you do? Did you advise him to stop insulting Uhuru?
I just told him it didn't make sense. You wanted to be the regional kingpin. Uhuru is a powerful factor of the Mount Kenya region. Why would you want to be regional kingpin and continue fighting Uhuru, who already has people who, like me, who are his people? So you're basically setting yourself up to keep fighting with me for no reason. And not just me. It's a lot of people, because Uhuru has people who are his people, and they'll never stop. Right? So why would you want to be regional kingpin that is not necessarily in conflict with Uhuru? You just need to prove that you actually deserve to be regional kingpin. Uhuru will support you because he's moved out from that position.
What did he tell you? Did he tell you, well, yeah, I see your point.
Well, the fact that he actually started doing something about it means he saw the point.
But what did he tell you?
I see the point.
There was a question that was coming to me about the Mount Kenya, but maybe it's already self-answered. I wonder whether the Mount Kenya is still the prize it once was, or whether people are moving from bloc politics. But I think there was a lull at some point, I think. Gachagua stepped in, and like you said, he said, I'm the kingpin of this region. It sounded like it was isolating a lot of other people.
Yes.
I wonder whether Uhuru's return is now elevating it again to remind people, actually, this bloc, it's still the prize. Mount Kenya politics is still the prize. But is it?
It is.
It is.
It is. It is. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing can be argued. For as long as politics is seen from a lens of community, I don't even want to call it tribe anymore, because it's not everybody who lives in Mount Kenya region who is Kikuyu, Embu, Meru, right? But I remember when we were in parliament, we used to argue with my colleagues from other parts of the country and say, you guys don't seem to get it. You talk to a member of parliament. I have a very good friend of mine who's a member of parliament from Northeastern, and he kept saying, we started seeing tarmac after devolution. You guys are arguing about repairing your tarmac. You're lobbying here about getting money to repair your tarmac. Me, I'm lobbying to get money to put tarmac for the first time. So there's a lot of regional lack of understanding that is there. And one of the things I really love about what Uhuru was doing about it, and I think he's continued through his foundation, is to get students to do cultural exchange programs. Whether in university or high school, and you go to different parts of the country and you live there. Because you have a lot of people who've never gone beyond where they were born. And as they're saying, you believe your mother is the best cook until you go somewhere else. If you never go somewhere else, you'll keep saying your mother's food is the best. And that's part of the problem with our politics. A lot of us have never left where we have. And those who have left, especially the middle class, then start saying politics is bad. Rather than bringing their experience and the understanding of the national aspect of things, they start saying, me, I don't want to be a politician. These politicians. And every time I hear that statement, I get a bit worked up, because I keep saying, first, politicians are Kenyans. So sometimes when you listen to Kenyans talking about politicians, it's like there are some other
They're
guys
othering them.
Yes, from another planet. And by default, when you other people, they also other themselves. So you also start having your own exclusive thinking, Mimi na raia. And then you start pulling your own things.
Politics is a contest of personalities, and I think that's what still gives people the ick. It doesn't seem to move beyond personalities. It's hell-bent on personalities. Ideas come as an afterthought, if at all. I want to hear what you think from that perspective. But before that, the Matiang'i factor, and something that you said to that point as well in the next video clip that we're going to run, where you talked about Gachagua's attacks on Matiang'i. Let's run that, because this is, again, another important factor to Jubilee as we're seeing it now. So let's run that and then come back and speak to the Matiang'i factor.
Gachagua is very deliberate, even when he's hurting someone. When he attacks Matiang'i, it is not a mistake, it's not a slip of the tongue. Gashagua's biggest problem with Matiang'i is that Matiang'i is the only candidate in the opposition, as we see it, who can actually come to Mount Kenya by himself and be accepted and received without the blessings of Rigathi Gachagua. Think about it. For Kalonzo to come to Mount Kenya, Gachagua must bring him. For Eugene to come to Mount Kenya, Gachagua must bring him. Even for Martha Karua, who is actually a person from Mount Kenya, it's taken Gachagua building her up for her to start being able to come to Mount Kenya by herself. So Gachagua is threatened by Matiang'i because Matiang'i is encroaching into what he thinks is his exclusive domain for political activity.
So,
Hiyo ni ukweli.
kabisa.
How do we know this? Has Matiang'i made any foray into Mount Kenya?
No, actually he hasn't.
Even Kabete hapa.
But he's gone to Meru, eh? He went to Meru. He went to Thika with Gathoni. He's been, and why I also say that is, when you think about the reason Matiang'i is a discomfort, not Kalonzo. Kalonzo has been a former vice president. You'd imagine that the person Gachagua would be most uncomfortable with would be somebody like Kalonzo Musyoka, who's been around politics for a long time. Matiang'i has never even run for office. But you see, that's what makes him very dangerous. Matiang'i is known as an Uhuru person. So this, as much as we keep saying Uhuru has retired, he now is like Matiang'i is Uhuru's
When
political
people say
son.
Matiang'i, they see
You see
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Yes. So it's like assuming Uhuru's son was to come back into politics today. You know, he doesn't come the same way Uhuru, when he got into politics, he didn't come as Uhuru. He came as Jomo's son. So now Matiang'i,
And Moi's protege.
yes, and Moi's strategy, and Kibaki's godson. So he had a lot of those things working for him, and that gave him a jump start over a lot of older, more established politicians. Matiang'i is coming with the same momentum. That Matiang'i, who has never run for office, I was watching Matiang'i, and he's even struggling to talk like a politician. He talks about sub-counties rather than constituencies. So he says, I went to, I'm like, boss. that is now an interior conversation you're having, It's talking about locations rather than words. So you can see he's still struggling to internalize the political conversation within himself. But he's already a scaring factor. Why is he a factor? Why would Matiang'i really be a factor in our national politics at this moment in time? It's Uhuru. The only reason Matiang'i is such a powerhouse right now is Uhuru. He was Uhuru's right-hand person. He was Uhuru's prime cabinet. He was Uhuru's Mr. Fix-It. So if Matiang'i is coming back, there's that feeling. And the reason why there was a lot of resistance to Matiang'i coming to Jubilee was because that was going to make the connection complete. Had Matiang'i come back into politics and gone to Kisii, and gone in a Kisii party as he was being advised by Gachagua, there would have been a disconnect between Uhuru and Matiang'i. Now it would have looked like Matiang'i is just building his own political career independently of anybody else. Kazi ya Uhuru iliisha, sasa najipanga kazi yangu. The minute he comes to Uhuru's party, then he's still on assignment. He's still Mr. Fix-It. He's still fixing stuff for Uhuru. So this is not Matiang'i we're dealing with.
It's Uhuru.
This is Uhuru we're dealing with, coming through Matiang'i. And Matiang'i doesn't even run away from it so much. When you try and pin him down, says, are you a project of Matiang'i, of Uhuru? Matiang'i will usually answer by some roundabout way and say, the reason you guys know me is because I worked for Uhuru.
I worked for Uhuru.
So really, why would I want to run away from an association with Uhuru? So even he also understands. And that's why he was able to move away from the pressure of going into a small party and join a party that, yes, everybody thinks is a lot of work. It's a former ruling party. The history of former ruling parties is not very good. So you could see the argument of, no, go and start your own and come. He decided, no, let me go and do the heavy lifting in this one. Why? Because I have someone.
I have the backing of the leader of the party.
The leader of the
so
party.
Matiang'i is Uhuru's project.
Not Uhuru's project. He's a person who's worked with Uhuru. It's like telling me I'm Uhuru's project.
Yeah. I mean, even Gachagua has worked for and with
But
Uhuru.
he may cut his ties.
Has worked with Uhuru.
Cut his ties.
Is Matiang'i Uhuru's
Matiang'i hasn't cut his ties. Matiang'i hasn't cut ties. And you see...
By the way, he's being propped up.
He's not been propped up.
By Uhuru.
He's not
sitting
being propped
next
up.
to Uhuru. I mean, Matiang'i is nobody in the leadership of Jubilee, but in the NDC, he's seated next to the party leader of Jubilee.
Yes.
And in fact, he even moves the Secretary General of the Jubilee to
the
that
next
position.
Yes.
That means that it's the same thing that we used to see with Moi and Uhuru. Moi would bring Uhuru to come sit next to him.
Yes.
And even Saitoti would now be Ukofa, a bit
Yes.
far. It's the same thing we are seeing. We called Uhuru Moi's project.
Yes.
We are seeing Matiang'i seated next to Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
So we can also call Matiang'i Uhuru's project.
But you can't call him Uhuru's project because Uhuru was Moi's project because Moi was in power and he was leaving. Uhuru has already left.
And he wanted to hand over.
But he's already left.
Uhuru has already left.
Yes.
But even he is speaking, he wants to hand over the party to a new vibrant leadership.
Exactly.
We can
And
call the
Matiang'i
project.
is part of the people he would
Of the
prefer
new
to do
vibrant
that.
leadership.
Why? Because Matiang'i has worked with him for 10 years.
So you're saying AKA the project?
No, it's not a project.
One
And actually,
plus
I don't.
one.
Let me not even argue
One
that point.
plus one.
Let me not argue that
Ngunjiri,
point.
Wambugu
Let me not
will
argue
not
that
be
point. Let me not argue that point too much because part of the problem about being called a project is a negative connotation of it.
Yes.
Right. But you see, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If today some people are saying Ngunjiri is Uhuru's project, I don't think I would complain too much about it because what does it mean? It means I have a mentor to turn to. I have somebody who's done this for like 20, 30 years. I can go and ask. So the only reason it becomes a project is when it's used to attack you. And when it's your enemies saying it. But when it's your friends, so when the project Uhuru, when it's your friends saying it, it is okay. When it's your enemies saying it, they're trying to make you look like you're not your own person. You're not thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
You're
You
not
don't have a
independent.
backbone.
You don't have a
stand on your own
backbone.
feet
But then
and so on.
also, Uhuru has also been very categorical. He was a project of many people, right? He was Moi's project. He was Kibaki's project. There's no way Uhuru would have become president in 2013 if Kibaki hadn't supported him. There's no way he would have gone into national limelight if Moi hadn't supported him. So he keeps saying, I have stood on the shoulders of other people. So even me, I want to give my shoulders to somebody else to stand on. So he's giving his shoulders to Matiang'i to stand on, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
a lot of us would want to be standing on those
in that
shoulders.
position.
So now we are waiting for Matiang'i to give us his.
Okay.
Actually, it's a
his dad.
responsibility of a good leader to ensure succession.
Yes.
To pass the baton.
Yes.
I
Pass
just
the
think,
baton.
I think
And he
people,
was accused
And
of
to
not doing
communicate.
it.
Yeah.
He was
And to
accused of not
communicate.
doing it.
That's exactly why he was one of the
Yes.
things that he was being accused of.
Yes.
No succession.
Not appearing to have a succession plan, not appearing to have anyone willing and ready to pass the baton to. But well, with this you can say that this is exactly what Uhuru
But
is
think
doing.
about it. He actually did have a succession plan. He had a transition a proposal. It's only that he didn't have it within Mount Kenya, which is where people expected him to have it. He expected him to, which Kikuyu
Are you handing over to?
are you handing over to? Uhuru wasn't thinking like that. Uhuru was thinking, I'm handing over the nation to the person I think best suited to run it. The fact that it's not a Kikuyu doesn't mean I'm not doing transitional planning. Same thing he's doing now. He's not handing over the party to a Kikuyu. But you still have people saying he's not doing good transition planning because you're like, where is the Kikuyu? Where are you giving this party to a Kisi?
so it disrupts block politics. So it doesn't.
It does.
So it
For
doesn't
him,
put a dent. Yeah.
He's always wanted to disrupt. You remember some funeral he went for? Was it something to do with Musali? And he said, it could help if this country had another president outside the Kalenjin and Kikuyu. Because also, we need to break that thing.
Yep.
So that we stop. Because you see, the fact that Uhuru was president doesn't change many things for many Kikuyus. We just keep saying, we are president. We are not president. It is Uhuru who is president. Your problems are just the same as when Ruto is president, when Kibaki was president. They don't change.
The perception is that it will change things for us. And I know in the next hour we'll talk about how even this new wave of activism is properly disrupting that factor.
Oh, yes.
And breaking it apart.
Fantastic. It's fantastic.
I think people also confuse project with puppet.
Yes.
That's where the negative connotation
Yes.
comes.
Actually,
in.
it's used. It's only that they don't want to say puppet.
They don't want to say puppet, but they actually
That's what
mean
they say-
it.
that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still feels, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I was telling Eric earlier, I default to service delivery, and sometimes it doesn't all go well when people are in the middle of a heavy political conversation, but it's still very frustrating when it's personality driven, which I still think our politics largely is. Do you think there's anything Jubilee will do differently, even as we see the Matiang'i factor, even as we say Uhuru is back, to stop it from being so heavily personality driven to really people service delivery centered? How do we change the language so that begins to resonate?
Politics will stop being personality driven when voters become selfish. When voters become selfish. I say that the personalities we're talking about are selfish. Default setting. Somebody once told me that a politician is naturally selfish and egotistical. It takes a lot of ego for you to believe you can lead other people. Even forget about when you get elected. Even to just say, I'm going to run for office. There's already a ego thing there of, so you think you're better than us.
Yes.
So you're coming to ask us to vote for you to lead us. So it's already an ego thing. And that person who's doing that has personal interest that he then aligns with public interest and then convinces you to vote for him. So what he achieves is personal interest as he delivers on your public interest. Now, what the ordinary voter needs to do is become selfish. Vote for yourself. Because you're not going to run for office. Vote for the guy who's going to do service delivery and make service delivery your politics. Right now, we are caught in 2027 politics. 1 term, 2 term, And I keep asking guys, so 2027 is like 2 years away. But we are here shouting 1 term, right? 1 term will not happen for another 22, 23 months. So between now and then, as you are following Gachagua saying 1 term, Gachagua has been able to mobilize resources because you are coming into his rallies. So every time he goes, he has a big rally, he can show a picture and get funders to put money in behind his campaign because he's building momentum. How are you benefiting? You can't wait until 2027 to educate your kids. When I was member of parliament, we used to give bursaries. And we did a fantastic job. Even if you just walk around Nyeri, they'll tell you. The current member of parliament is giving bursaries. Maybe not as well, but I can't tell parents now to wait until I come back.
Msichukue bursary.
Msiende kuchukua hii bursary mpaka nikuje. Because that kid has to go to school. But that's the kind of national politics we are hearing people being told. Don't ask for development. Don't associate yourself with somebody who can do development. Now, me, I'll tell my guys in Nyeri, you're my supporter, yes, please go. Nimeona member of parliament, he's made announcements in church for bursary. Please go and get. That's now, that is the kind of politics we need to do, so that that person knows the reason I elected the person, or the person in office today, even though I didn't elect him, his work is to give me what I need now, not to promise me what he will give me when he's in power. That's the problem with our politics.
Yeah.
And the reason that we are now personality driven is because now, for example, Gachagua or Kalonzo or Eugene or even Matiang'i is becoming now a strong personality. We want to associate with him. But you're associating with him to do what? So that you can say, I'm associated with Matiang'i or I am with Uhuru. Even when I was with Uhuru, I was still pushing. If Uhuru's government wasn't helping me deliver for people of Nyeri, I would have walked.
You'd have walked away. We're coming back. We're continuing the conversation with you. We'll continue to host Honorable Ngunjiri Wambugu in the next hour. There's a lot of feedback, questions, thoughts on YouTube. Some people saying it's true, Matiang'i is Uhuru project. Others saying it's highly likely that Mount Kenya region will really be fractured in the coming election. And somebody else saying, I never trust Uhuru, Raila and Ruto. Because, they're just saying, I don't know if it has anything to do with me. Coming up to 8 a.m., Fixing the Nation one conversation at a time. Back in a moment. Dennis Kamau said something interesting. Uhuru was with Ruto admiring ongoing renovations in State House. So therefore, they are one and the same. Uhuru anajifanya hotcake sana. Rigiji asked for forgiveness, but he chose to forgive Ruto. It's okay.
Hotcake.
Amesema hivyo. Dennis Kamau saying it as it is.
Such an interesting.
Yep, many youthful people in Mount Kenya didn't vote in 2022, meaning they didn't resonate with Uhuru or Gachagua, and the trend continues currently all the way to 2027. Charles Dungo. So there we have it.
Many young people did not resonate with the political players in 2022. And that included Uhuru, Raila, Gachagua, Ruto, all of them, right? And what he's saying, Charles, is that even now,
it will see the same thing.
Nothing has changed. From your ear on the ground, what do you see? What do you hear?
First and foremost, I don't think it's the young people who are supposed to resonate with the leaders. It's the leaders who are supposed to figure out how to get the young people to resonate with them. And I say this, today if Janet decided you want to run for office, we don't know. You'll sit by yourself at home. You'll do your calculations and I'm going to go and run for member of parliament or MCA or president somewhere. Once you make that decision, you then have the responsibility of making us resonate with you. It's not us who resonate with you first. It's you who comes and tells us. So if there was a problem in 2022 with young people not resonating with young people, it's actually it's us who were in office at that time who made the mistake or who failed to get young people to resonate with us. Young people have taken a step, but again, it's the issues that happened that they resonated with. When they went to the streets, it was an issue that when you think about it, finance bill did not actually affect Gen Z directly. It affected their parents. So these guys are in college and all of a sudden your pocket money has gone down, or your parents are struggling to pay school fees, or they're just struggling to sustain themselves, and you start getting affected. So they stepped out to do something about it. Now, and this is a challenge that young people need to, and I have Gen Zs at home, and I keep telling them, you have to then get involved. We keep saying nothing for us without us, and they kept saying that. But you see, for you, then you have to be in the game. You have to actually get into the game and be part of it. Otherwise, the same thing is going to happen again. Because in 2027, people are going to get elected, whether you show up or not. If there's anything that you learned from 2022, you didn't show up.
And people got elected.
Yeah. So even in 2027, you don't show up, there's no rule or law that says you have to have 100% voter turnout. Even if it's 5% and they vote one person, that's the guy who's going to run your town or your country for the next 5 years. So first, get involved. Don't just hype. Don't go around with the flags. Go beyond that. And this voter registration time, I have been saying that one of the things I did was say, whether you are one term or 2-term, the first thing you need to do is make sure you have voter registration. Then you can now start aligning yourself. Because I was accused of having a lot of young people in 2022. I mean, we were doing some serious campaign rallies, Eric, I can tell you. They were fun. Then after elections, guys are telling me, but you know, the guys used to hang out with didn't vote. I'm like,
your people
so now
didn't
my
vote.
people didn't vote. So now I'm telling them, guys, there was a team, we used to call them Bwegze. Young guys, and they were so much fun. We had divas, we had everything. Then after the election, I told, but you know, those guys didn't have voters cards. They are not registered to vote. So that is the problem. And if young people want to be part of the next conversation, we keep saying that 2027 tutaona, we will not see anything unless they register to vote. They can keep hyping as much as they want, but they are not going to stop the political movement or change it unless they go to the ballot. There's no other way. This thing of saying that after the next government is in office, you're going to start going to the streets again, it's just booze. So you do something about making sure that the one that goes is the one you want.
Yeah.
Or be part of it. Or run for office. You know, just nothing stops you from running for office.
Just don't be detached. Don't be an outsider.
Don't be out there. When they say that you're making a government of the people, by the people, for the people, or whatever combination of words that is, it means you have, if you're not there, there's this saying that if you're not around the table, you're on the menu.
Yeah.
If you're not seated where guys are talking about what's going to happen in the country, then you're part of the menu that is being discussed. That's going to be ahead.
I think a lot of young people are trying to make a concerted effort. We'll come back and speak a bit politics, but I'm interested and curious from your perspective. You've been on the inside, you've also been an observer on the outside. What's the one thing that you wish MPs knew today? What's the one lesson that you wish they could learn and implement? Just from your time as being one.
Yes.
It's now 2025. You're looking at how MPs are operating. What's the one lesson that you wish they would learn to just move this country forward?
You guys were having a conversation about Kenya Power and about credit rating. I was just thinking to myself, the reason we elect people is so they can come and explain those things for you. The reason we elect people is because you want to continue being able to come to office at NTV. But then you've chosen someone to go to government, find out for me what's going on in government, and then come tell me, right? The disconnect we have between politicians and the rest of us, especially when they're in office, is because when you get into office, you forget that. You forget that you're elected to come and tell us. So your work is go, find out, come tell me. Then we discuss, then I tell you, okay, no, tell them that thing I don't like. Then you go to parliament and you say, no. The people who voted for me say they don't want this. We lose that. We lose that when we're in office. When I was in office to some extent, I think even I lost that. You lose that thing of, you start forgetting you are chosen to represent people, not to go there. You are not given a job. You didn't go there to work for your own benefit and for your salary. You went there so that the people who sent you there can benefit from you have been there. You know, it's like your welfare association. An example I keep using. You stay in an estate, you elect people to be in charge of security. Then that guy goes there and starts getting security contracts, deciding who's going to offer security guards to your estate. No, he's supposed to make sure the people who elected him are safe.
Yeah.
That's the disconnect. That's the one thing I hope and I pray that, because Finance Bill 2024 was a clear example.
Yep.
You can't be in a situation where your people are out there in the street saying, we don't want this. And you as a member of parliament are in parliament passing it. You know, it was interesting when the president refused to sign it, and then they started clapping.
They clapped.
I'm like, guys, that was embarrassing.
Like,
it was
read the room.
embarrassing. And because it tells you, Ruto understands the game. He understands it. He was like, hey, okay, guys, I really want this thing to pass. But these guys have refused. Now the egg on the face was the members of parliament who had kept insisting it's going to pass anyway. And then Ruto says, no, we can't pass this thing. Man, this country is going to go up in flames.
And then the applause.
Then you applaud. You're like, so what are you guys doing?
I want to take you a little bit back to politics.
Yes.
So Dennis Kamau saying Uhuru was with Ruto, admiring renovations in State House. And
feeling like a hotcake.
Yes. It's that thing where these political musical chairs confuse the citizens. So what was happening there? Now we're seeing what's happening with Matiang'i. It's very difficult to predict. So the two questions are, what's expected to happen next? We're seeing this Uhuru is back.
Yeah.
We're seeing what others are calling the Matiang'i project, whatever you want to call it. Difficult to predict how the other alignments are going to form. And I think that's why people are skeptical to buy into one story. The one story now is Uhuru is back, Jubilee is back, the power of the party is being felt, Matiang'i is there, being propped. But people will still struggle to have an allegiance with Jubilee because they're like, I don't know what games these are that are being played. So the question is, number one, what was happening there around the Uhuru Ruto? And then now, what can people expect next?
I think first and foremost, by the time you see Uhuru and Ruto just being chummy and brother, it had not happened before. So you must accept that wasn't the first time they were speaking. It was just the first time they were being seen to be speaking. Number two, a president and a former president are not caught unaware with video. So that release of that video was very deliberate. It was something that both of them accepted for it to happen. So there was something they were trying to say. They were trying to tell us that we might have had bad blood, but we are doing something about it. So that walkabout was not about seeing innovations in the house. It was just sending a message to guys. I know we are not, for those who think we are enemies, no, we are not. We are figuring it out. It doesn't mean we are together, but it means that we are not fighting. Now we've posed the fight, and I think it was good. It was a good thing because you had a lot of hardline positions on both sides. You had people on Ruto's side who, every time something went wrong, they would point fingers at Uhuru and say, "Oh, it was your fault." And somebody said, 3 years later, you can't still be blaming Uhuru, man. It's over half of the time you've been in office. And I think also from Uhuru's side, there were people whose position hadn't moved from 2022. You guys embarrassed us. You refused to listen to us. So, and that's the practicality of politics, and at national level, especially when you're playing statesman politics. You must be able to now live with the realities of what you have. You deal the cards that you work with the cards you've been dealt. Uhuru didn't want this government, but this is the government he has. And he's not going to go back into 2022 and redo it. So even if it was to change in 2027, he realizes it is the government that is in place
the government
right
of the day.
now. It is the one in place, Even when he became president, it wasn't, not everybody voted for him. And that's one of the things that I think in the beginning this government had failed to understand, that once you're elected, you're not just elected to serve the people who voted for you. You're elected to serve everybody in that country, even the guys who didn't vote. And the reason why the shares conversation would irritate people was because you keep reminding guys, we bet you. Nobody likes doing that. Once politics are over, the elections are over, you want to be like, okay, so my candidate didn't win. I want you to make me feel that thing is over. Now we are moving forward. So when you keep reminding people, you're telling me don't expect anything from this government. But which other government do I have? That story of bursaries. So if the guy who took over, who beat me in 2022, kept reminding people in Nyeri, what are you doing? You're disenfranchising the people who didn't vote for you, and you're just creating problems for yourselves. So what Uhuru, I think, in my personal opinion, that might not be the official position, was doing, was just creating that continuity. This might not have been my choice, but this is what you have. And we
he
have.
is the president.
Yes. And there was a clip, actually, I shared on where they met when he was walking in. It was very interesting. Uhuru started by saying, Jambo Bwana President. And then Ruto said, Karibu Rais. It was that one of, yeah, I'm president, but you are president. We were in different sides, and I know a lot of people keep saying, these two guys must figure out, because they're the only ones at this moment in time who understand what it means to be president. Ruto, who is in office, and Uhuru, who was in office. So at a certain point, when everybody else leaves, these are the two men in this country alone who know what it means to be president. If they're not being able to work together, then we'd have a problem. And I don't want us to get into this kind of things we are seeing in other parts of Africa, where one president gets in and starts jailing the other one, and vice versa. That was a bad move that began from the swearing in, and some of those things that went off was from there. You don't get in by fighting the guy who left. It's just bad because everybody has supporters.
You let it pass.
You accept, you become magnanimous. You won, man. That's it.
Move on.
And you didn't win with 100%. You won with 51. So 49%, out of every 100 people, 49 didn't want you. And you have to keep remembering that. That everywhere you go, stop thinking you're this hotcake. 49 of the people, 20 out of every 100 people you meet didn't want you.
They not want you
to be president.
Where you are today. There's confusion though, Ngunjiri, and I see, from a level of the two leaders and what they're doing and the message that they're trying to pass, I can see that.
Yes.
Then there's confusion that comes in when they're speaking separately, and they don't say the same thing that they appear to be doing together. At NDC, Uhuru comes out and he's talking, just saying, this government has just dropped everything. I understand he's the leader of the opposition political party that is seeking to come back into power.
Third largest.
Right? Third largest, whatever. But he's seeking to come back to power in 2027. He's basically rallying his troops towards, this is why we need to be the ones who are in office again.
Yes.
And he's basically just pointing out the failures, what he calls the failures of this government. They did away with our Linda Mama, now look what they're doing, and tried and
with
tested. They are doing this and the other with the housing and food and all, And you begin to wonder, okay, I thought you guys were buddy-buddy just the other day.
See, that's the mistake we make. The fact that we're buddy-buddies doesn't mean I can't criticize you. See, that's the problem we have. And that's why you see generally Kenyans.
Okay.
The reason why the minute I criticize Gachagua, I'm called an enemy of his is because, but you're his friend. Why are you criticizing him? I'm like, boss, if I don't agree with something, and we are politicians, both of us, and I also understand that as a politician, you listen more to what he said in public than what he said in private, you realize that there's been a lot more explanation of Linda Jamii by government
since
Uhuru said. Now, what if he hadn't said? The challenges. When the opposition started attacking Shah, it's when he started working. Right? Any progress, any successes in Shah right now come from the fact that it started being attacked. Had people not attacked it, then there would have been no improvement. Politics is a very aggressive thing. You aggress, you have to challenge. They say nothing is conceded, it is taken. So you have to go out there and say, but you guys, this Shah of yours is not working. And they have to now try and prove that he's actually working. If you keep quiet, it's not going to happen. Raila is a perfect connoisseur of how politics works. He realizes you challenge, then people listen. Then worst case scenario or best case scenario for you, they come and tell you, okay, now what do you need me to do for you to stop fighting me, man? Because now you're making my life very hard. But you have to challenge. Yeah. You have to challenge.
I feel like you can criticize without we attack. I don't think we criticize. I don't think the politicians.
No, that's a problem.
In this country, jabs.
We don't. If you listen to what Uhuru did during NDC, he actually didn't attack. He criticized. He said, look, we had Linda Mama. You guys came up with Linda Jamii. You'll most probably find that Uhuru hasn't interrogated Linda Jamii, but he's meeting people who are telling him, man, that thing you had done,
Linda Mama was better.
Linda Mama was better. So he's like, but you guys changed this thing. So now somebody tells him, no. Because where would Uhuru have had a sitting with, even I'm sure when they sat with Ruto when they were walking around, they didn't talk about Linda Jamii and Linda Mama. So he's also raising the issues. Because remember, he's also a leader of a party that is made up of people who are complaining about what is going on in government. So you can't stand there and start defending what government is doing. That's their work. Your work is to articulate what your supporters are saying.
What your members are saying.
Yes, then government has to now deal with it. Because government is the only exclusive group that is removed from the people. And the leaders must accept that your work is to keep challenging government so that government can explain or deliver services, not to necessarily go and sit. And that's why this thing of politicians aligning themselves with the next election keeps leaving us in problems. Because it means you are no longer challenging for now. I'm no longer pushing just because I'm no longer, because I watch UDA members of parliament who have aligned with Gachagua fighting government. And I'm like, but you're in this government, man. See, you are elected to take as much as you can to your people this term. Not start telling them how you're now going to form the next government. Who says you're going to be in the next government?
I don't think things have ever been different. I don't remember a time when politics didn't supersede service delivery and thinking about the now. I do not remember a time. And so I'm wondering whether the fix, where the reset needs to be, is it the politicians?
Is the people.
Is it the people?
Politicians flow with the
so
easiest.
So we need to do the reset.
Yes. Politicians, I keep saying politicians are representatives of the people. They do what is the most popular at the time. If right now the most popular thing is to complain, they'll complain. The day you make it, and that's why you start saying first world countries, politics is very development based. No, it's not. It's just that the people there hold you accountable for delivering for them. Here we don't hold people accountable. How do we elect people? We don't elect people for what they did. We elect people for where they are or who they are with. If we can reset that.
I think we tried. I think part of the wave last year was to try and push.
But you see,
reset.
that wasn't during an election.
No, it wasn't.
That
yeah.
needs to happen.
It needs to be
during
sustained
an
until
election,
the election.
and then even after the election, because the people who should be fighting this government the most while supporting it are the people who elected it. They're the ones who should be saying, but you actually promised us. You shouldn't be saying you promised us, now you lied to us, we're not going to vote for you. You should be saying you promised us, you haven't delivered.
Deliver now.
Can you deliver? Now we listen to, again, using Gachagua, who was the primary campaigner for this government, telling people this government is not going to deliver at all. We need to remove it and put another one. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sawa. Maybe that's a good idea. But between now and then, you're telling us to kai ngumu to kule ngumu, we have challenges. Why don't you use the same capacity you have and that you had then to make this government deliver now? When he was in office, he was doing illicit alcohol. He was fighting illicit alcohol. So why has he stopped? Why isn't he fighting illicit alcohol now? Because do you have to be in government to fight it?
He
to
doesn't
talk
have the
against
resources.
it? No, but you don't have to be in government to fight against it.
He doesn't have the resources.
But you see, he has resources to say one term. So when you're saying one term, why don't you say na hii pombe haramu
Mwache pombe.
inaua watoto wetu, nyinyi kama serikali, can you stop it? You should be saying we are having a problem with SHA, can you fix it? Not saying this SHA is useless, we will change it. Housing, I mean, those houses are being built. Whether we are fighting them or not, they are being built. They're going to be bought by someone.
And we are paying tax for it.
And we are paying for them. So you should be saying what needs to happen now, even as you plan what you will do when you get in.
Okay.
Because they're not stopping. The guys are still building those houses. This is a problem. And the people who can make you do that is us. You guys in media, public, the general public has to keep remembering to be selfish. Gachagua wants to be president. He's aligning us to be president. You don't want to be president. In fact, I keep hearing people saying, watu wanataka Ruto atoke. I'm like, but boss, me, I don't really care whether Ruto is president or not because it doesn't affect me personally. I wish government could work. If government could work, I wouldn't care who's president. The only reason I am now worried about who is in charge is because it's not working, right? If it works, then I don't care. So, but we keep being reminded it's not working.
Yep.
But the person who's saying that is saying that so that you agree with him, so that you now put him
To make it work.
to make it work. Then when he gets in,
We start saying it.
the next guy starts saying, this guy is not going to make it work.
As we conclude this conversation, Ngunjiri,
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about Mount Kenya. So we saw UDA came and swept Mount Kenya, east and west.
Yeah.
And then there's been now this conversation of trying to split the east and west. Yesterday, the president was in Meru and he's been having all these conversations with Meru. The deputy president is from the east of the mountain. Is the east-west thing happening? Is the split happening?
I don't think so. Somebody asked me whether Mount Kenya is going to vote as a block. I said yes. Is it going to vote as a block because somebody tells it to? No. Mount Kenya, like Nyanza, and certain large blocks, because it's certain politically large blocks. The reason they vote as a block is because they have certain things that they are worried about or they are insecure about.
Common interest.
Common interest. Now, what smart politicians do is align themselves to that common interest. So even in 2027, whichever direction Mount Kenya goes is going to be the side that best articulates. When we were in Jubilee, we used to say, in whose hands are you safe? Because it's a major thing. Security is a major thing. Political security, not being mugged. Political security, that as a Mount Kenya person, I feel safe. So Mount Nyanza is development. They've politicized the development. They keep saying we need to get into government to get development. And that's why it's easy for them to align even after elections. Because that's what they look for. So the east-west divide can't exist unless East has a certain common interest that is different from the West, and we don't have that yet. Okay. The entire mountain thinks the same way about issues, whether it is business, small business, it's the same issue.
Thinks the same.
Yeah.
Ngunjiri Wambugu, former Nyeri Town MP, she's coming to talk to us about, and you'll come back and thread, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be another game of chess, and we'll be like, okay, he's back and he said this. What happened? So we'll probably see him again soon, but he's been our guest for the last hour and a half or so. In the next hour, we get the youth perspective, people who are actively trying to take up space and say, without us, we cannot shape this country. He'll come and tell us how, as he also gives us his lens on the state of the nation. Stay with us. It's coming up to 8:30.